Dear students, today we are going to discuss a topic which is very important and at the same time very interesting. It is the civil society. Civil society is global phenomenon and the national aspect. Both are very important to us because the politics is changing greatly. And with the changing scenario of politics, economics, and other social system, the civil society has acquired, both national and global, great importance. It is going to acquire great space along with the state. And now, what is a civil society? The civil society had been there in the past also, but it was not like the civil society of today. The civil society, the meaning of civil society was different in different ages. It has evolved since the time of the Greek city-state. Aristotle said, the great Greek philosopher and political thinker, that man is political animal. When he said man is political animal, he meant by it that man is social animal. State was all in all, and society and state were very much intertwined with each other. They could not be differentiated. Aristotle did not differentiate the state and the society as such. So, society, its characteristics and its culture, its political ethos, everything was in the state itself, was encompassed with the state. So state and civil society was not different and they did not vie with each other for any space, political or otherwise. But today, when we say civil society, we mean something greater than that. Though it was, in the modern sense, it came into being in the 18th century, we can say, but it has evolved since then and has acquired greater role nowadays. We can mention the name of a great political thinker. He was German political thinker, Hegel, Friedrich Hegel, 1770-1881, Hegel. Hegel, in his book, The Philosophy of Rights, he said that state is an ideal thing, a thing that can, through that medium, through that state, we can reach the God. In that sense, state is a very, very important part of the society. And Hegel too, in some sense, did not differentiate the state and the society as such. Or rather, we can say that by interpreting the Hegelian theory of state, we cannot differentiate the state and the society very strictly. Anyway, that is a different issue, different item of discussion. We can take it up later also. In his Philosophy of Rights in 1821, Hegel said that civil society is meant to harmonize between the conflicting interests between the state and the society as such. And self-interest and the personal choice that dominate the civil society, state is above that. Now, there is a conflict between the state and society. There may be a conflict between the state and the society. And civil society's role is to harmonize that conflict. Hegel did not believe in the theory of class struggle, which later Marx propounded so profoundly and so hugely. So harmonization of the society, harmony of the society means harmony of the society with the state, with the individual, rights of the individual and the duties of the individuals and the power of the state. Hegel was a great philosopher. He was a political thinker. Hegel, in his Philosophy of Rights, his book, propounded the theory of the state, the civil society. Hegel was not a propounder of the class struggle as such, which Marx later came to propound and propagate. So Hegel's intention or objective was to harmonize the society, the state and the individuals and individuals' rights. Therefore, civil society to Hegel was an agent of harmonization. And thus Hegel said that civil society should exist, but civil society is not above the state, because ultimately state Hegel regarded as a march of God on earth. That is, absolutism was Hegel's thesis, and two things cannot go side by side in the long run. Anyway, that is a different proposition, different thing, different item for discussion. We can do it later. Now, when Hegel said about the rights, there was other philosophers, other thinkers who have given recently more cogent definition of civil society. I am talking about one, his author, his name is Ernest Gellner. He says that, I'm quoting him, civil society is that set of diverse non-governmental institutions which is strong enough to counterbalance the state and whilst not preventing the state from fulfilling its role of the keeper of the peace and arbitrator between major interactors, can nevertheless prevent the state from dominating and atomizing the rest of the society. It means the civil society is very much regarded as a distinct phenomenon, distinct from the state, but at the same time, it does not prevent the state from playing its role, from playing the role to atomize the individuals. State is above all, but civil society, its role is also very important to Gellner. And this has been taken up by other political thinkers also. I will now go to the extent of saying that the civil society is dependent on the market. It means civil society is not a shopkeeper. In that sense, it is not dependent on the market. The market economy, national and international, has made the role of the civil society very complicated and very important at the same time. Because this civil society, which is a collection or agglomeration of so many professionals, organizations, teachers, schools, church or religious institutions, and the trade unions, other professional organizations, all they come together to play their own role from their respective point of view, from their respective interest. Thus, civil society has acquired a great important space in the society along with the state. State is also, to a great extent, dependent on the civil society for its smooth functioning, because conflicts are there in the society. And what is the function of the state? The function of the state is to resolve the conflict. For the resolution of the conflict, the state interact with the persons of the society. And these persons, they together form the different organizations called civil society. Civil society works within this parameter. So the state's proper smooth functioning depends largely on the cooperation of the people and the people ventilate their opinions, their arguments, and what they want to do. Even if they cry, even if they do protest, they do it through their organizations, which are not called states, but these organizations form the core of the civil society. This is the importance of civil society in the recent political age. Now, state is a permanent institution, whereas the civil society is not a permanent institution in the sense that state has the power to coerce the persons not obeying the law, not obeying the rules. Civil society does not have that power. Civil society can make the state, it can create an opinion, public opinion, and force the state to change its rules, but it cannot coerce anybody to follow the rules. So, state is a permanent body, whereas civil societies, the different organizations, are not permanent bodies. There may be some ephemeral organizations, ephemeral associations. After the fulfillment of their objectives, their interest, they may go away, they may wither away, but state will remain. Many big organizations of human rights are there, which may remain there, because rights of man will always be demanded by the man. And the perennial conflict between the state and the individuals is centering between the individual's rights and the power of the state. State will always try to capture more power, try to exercise its power over the individuals, over the persons, and extend its hegemony. And individuals or the citizens will cry for their rights, want more and more rights, and will try to prevent the state from taking away their rights by any means, by legal means or by any other means. Thus, this conflict will always be there so long as people are there, so long as society is there. So, in that sense, civil society in a broad spectrum is permanent, but not in the sense a state is. A state will remain there. Without society, there cannot be nothing, cannot be anything. Without society, there cannot be anything. No political institutions, no state. The state came not before the society. Society is prior to the state. So, social conflicts and state power, social interest and state powers will always remain in conflict with each other, and at the same time, harmonization or harmonizing effort will also continue. And civil society plays this role in continuing this harmonization. About the rights of the individuals, about the importance of the individuals in the state, great thinker Thomas Paine said, I am quoting again from Thomas Paine, who said that the power of the state must be restricted in favor of civil society, because within all individuals there is a natural propensity for society existing before the formation of the states. This natural sociability predisposes individuals to establish peaceful and happy relations of competition and solidarity based on reciprocal self-interest, based on only reciprocal self-interest, and the shared sense of natural aid or mutual aid. The state is deemed a necessary evil and civil society an unqualified good. State must be there. Thomas Paine is saying, state must be there, but it is a necessary evil. State is not a good thing. It is evil. We have to accept the state because state is our ruler. There must be some ruler. State is our ruler. State must be there. We have to accept it, but it is an evil. It is an evil, though it is a necessary evil, and we have to accept it. Whereas society is unqualified good. Society is unqualified good. We know that there was a state of nature theory by many political scientists of the 17th centuries, Thomas Hobbes, Locke, Rousseau. Rousseau delineated a picture of human society before the state like this. It was an idyllic situation. It was an idyllic society. There was no conflict among the people, but gradually problems arose and people had to form the state. Hobbes said that it was a very shabby condition of the society. The society was a very nasty thing at the time. People became nasty, not society as such. Because man, Thomas Hobbes said, was solitary, nasty, brutish, and short. So they are always in conflict with each other. They had to give up some of their rights to form the society, form the state, the king or ruler, sovereign as such. So sovereign must be there for the interest of the people, for the interest of the people's peace. Otherwise the society will be demolished. Man will become wolf to each other. So state is needed, it is necessary, nonetheless it is a necessary evil. But society is unqualified good. This is said by Thomas Paine. And we shall now refer to another great important thinker of the modern age, a neo-Marxist, who was Antonio Gramsci. Antonio Gramsci said, he was 1891 to 1937. Gramsci said that civil society and state both functions to perpetuate hegemony. Gramsci's pet theory of, very fond theory of hegemony. The civil society is the political and cultural hegemony which a social group exercises over the whole of society as the ethical content of the state. Civil society, according to Gramsci, is the ethical content of the state, ethics and society. State, according to him, was an instrument of exploitation, as said by Marx. Gramsci modified it to some extent, but he did not give up the whole theory of Marxian view of state. So he says that ethical content of the society is the civil society. He again says there is a dialectical unity between the two, between the state and the civil society. So we see that Gramsci and the Marxists and all sorts of social scientists of the present day do not discard civil society as such. Even Marx has his own opinion about civil society. I am not going to discuss this now. It would be a very elaborate thing. I am going directly to the global society part, which is comparatively a new phenomenon. The global economy has expanded greatly. Why it is global? It is because economy of any country, big or small or medium size, is not confined to the territory of that country. It is expanding. It is no state is self-sufficient unto itself. There is a mutual dependence among the states, internationally, economic independence, political dependence, and other social, cultural dependence also is there. Now, economic dependence has made the state has brought the states very closer to each other. And that also brings them to a new thing called globalization of economy and globalization of politics. And this globalization of politics does not mean that a democratic country will always remain democratic, a dictatorial country, totalitarian country will remain totalitarian. They may change their political guards, they may change their political governments or political system, but that would not cause any hamper to what we may say the political relationship between or among themselves. So here this global politics has changed the concept of global civil society also. Civil society is not only a society within its boundary, it has crossed its own boundary also. So far as human rights are concerned, you see, the human rights are concerned. Now the people of America, we know, raised voice against the American policy, Vietnam policy, in 1960s, Vietnam policies. They sat on the street, they demonstrated, they wanted to stop the war, they wanted their government, they should come back from Vietnam to try to prevent their government from plundering other countries. The people of America, the youths of America, they wanted to move out of their territory notionally, ideologically, and politically by raising a great barrier against their own government so that they do not cross the limit to trounce human rights or human beings. So we see that human rights associations or organizations are very powerful, and these organizations in different states do cross their territories also. The civil society, a global civil society, has become a very permanent body as such, we can say. Civil society addresses both to the municipal law and international law. There is law of the nation and law of the international society or community. And by using both the laws, taking the advantages of both the laws, municipal and international, civil society acts as a vehicle of communication between the people of the world as a whole and also the people of its own land. For example, the people of Vietnam use the international law at the international forum, and national law they did use in their own way. Everybody knows that history. Thus, people of other countries also acted on behalf of the people of different countries who fought for their liberation or fought for earning their freedom from the colonial power. They use international law and national law also. The public opinion is being hugely created by these organizations. So, public opinion is a very important factor in international and national politics. Civil society creates or mobilizes public opinion. Public opinion is a very potent force, and this force is created by the civil organizations, civil societies. So every country, every ruler, totalitarian or democratic, liberal, conservative, has to reckon with this civil society nowadays. Therefore, we have to say that civil society will remain as long as society will remain and state will remain. This or that type of organizations may wither away, but it will come in different forms for the interest of the people, for the interest of peace of the world. And it is a configuration, civil society, global civil society is a configuration of social, economic, and political and cultural changes. These changes are wrought by these associations in the long run. Neoliberalism has emerged and free trade has emerged. The outlook of the people is changing. So global impact and of economy having impact on civil society. Civil society on its part also makes some impact on the economy and politics of the society, international society. So non-governmental organizations, NGOs in the civil society are growing very much in number. Since 1960s, 70s, 700 samples had been collected to see the civil society's rise, the history of its rise of civil societies. In 60% of these societies, civil organizations came into being during this period, 1970. It is because during that period, the social changes, economic changes were taking place greatly and very rapidly. That is why there was rapid development of these societies, agents. And I shall end my talk by quoting Albert Camus, the great writer, French writer. Albert Camus, in his Rebel, said, I am reading him out, "Rebellion is one of man's essential dimensions. It is our historical reality. Rebellion is a common ground on which every man bases his first values. I rebel, therefore we exist." Unquote. Camus. So, civil society is a marked rebellion in our international and national life.